everyone. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Fiona Litvak. I'm the Director of Communications for Tradewind. Again, thanks for joining us, and thank you to our friends at HR who always help us put these great events on for you. We do these events throughout the month, probably 1 to 3 times a month. We try to get together and make sure that we're getting the message out there to all of you about the Tradewind Solutions Marketplace and all the great things it could offer you and your companies. I have with us Gene Del Coco, who is our resident federal acquisitions SME. Before I turn it over to him, I just wanted to take care of a couple of housekeeping items. We are looking forward to an interactive event. Some of you submitted questions prior to the event when you were doing your registration, which is great. Thank you for that. We'll be addressing those throughout the event. But while we're talking, as you guys are kind of going through the slides with us, we do want you to know that you can drop in questions into the Q&A bar on your interface. Feel free to drop in anything that comes to mind, anything you're wondering about, just drop it in there. We'll make sure we get it answered for you. Today's event is really to give you an overview of the marketplace and dig a little bit deeper and give you some tips and tricks and insider knowledge about the marketplace and how to be successful on it. We've learned a lot since we started this program in November, and we just want to make sure we impart some of that knowledge and wisdom onto all of you. So without further ado, I will kick it off to Gene.
Thanks, Fiona. As Fiona mentioned, my name is Gene Del Coco, and I'm the Federal Acquisition SME for the Tradewind Solutions Marketplace. And I want to, welcome all of you who are maybe repeat attendees at this webinar. And for all the new ones and new people coming on, I hope you learn something from this and, get an opportunity to use the Solutions Marketplace as an opportunity to bring your technologies to the federal marketplace. That's the whole purpose of the marketplace, which is a central repository for AI, ML, and digital and data analytics solutions. It's a way of bringing your technology and get it viewed by as many government customers as we can get to view these videos and then possibly see how they might fit their requirements. The marketplace is really directed towards the non-traditional contractors, although anybody can participate, traditional, non-traditional, even individual researchers, to bring their ideas to the federal marketplace. It's an easy lift from the standpoint of getting that. Many small companies have a problem in the BD area in order to just get their ideas that they are excited about and ensuring that the government gets an opportunity to see those. One important aspect of the marketplace is that the process that we use after you submit your video is that your videos are immediately assessed for awardability or not awardability. The non-awardability it's not like a typical source selection in that there's winners and losers. Everybody is a winner within the marketplace. So if for some reason your video is not considered awardable on first try, you have the opportunity to resubmit that video, taking into consideration the feedback that's provided by the assessors. We run the marketplace on a 30-day cycle. So each month there's a new announcement. The marketplace is open for new submissions. So if you're not successful in one cycle, you can certainly take that video, do whatever corrections you want to make on it, and then resubmit it. An important aspect here is that this assessment that's being done satisfies all the competitive requirements of the FAR, the DFAR, and the statutes, policies, and guidances for other transaction authorities. So once you compete within the marketplace, you are already competed and therefore are ready for award. Next slide, please. Uh, I won't go through the value proposition in detail. You can read what we have on the slide. Uh, Basically, we're trying to make the marketplace the easy button for you to get your technologies to the government. Our goal is to increase the speed to contract. We want to be able to get you evaluated. We want a customer to select you. And then in that process, you and the government customer would work out the details of whatever contract or agreement that is decided that will actually execute your program. There's a very low barrier for participation. All we're asking for is a 5-minute video, which you will submit to the Solutions Marketplace. The instructions are very detailed, and I would recommend that the first place that you start is by reading the announcement. The announcement has very detailed instructions, and I ask you to comply, to the letter of those instructions, so that your video has a better chance of working its way through the process and being designated as awardable. There is communications throughout this process. So if there's anything that we see in the video as submitted, there's feedback on your video page. So that video page is yours, and it's designated for you, so that if there's any comments coming back from either the assessors or from the team that's looking at the videos before they're provided to the assessors, I suggest strongly that you take the time and every so often go back to your video page and see if there's any comments provided. There is an automatic notification so that when a comment is left on your video page, you'll be notified, and then you can go back and you can see what that comment is. Okay, next one. So here is just a little process map of how the marketplace works. The marketplace is open to academia, industry, inventors, developers, anybody that has a good idea, a novel idea in the areas of interest. You will upload that video on the Tradewind Marketplace. And Fiona, I believe you're going to give a little demonstration on the actual website.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. Yep.
Okay, good. So you'll upload your video, which is, not a difficult thing. Creating the video is not difficult. We're not looking for production level videos. If you have a cell phone and a good idea, put the two of those together and submit the video. If you're accepted, and it complies with the instructions, it will go through an assessment. That assessment will be assessed by a team of government, industry, their vetted industry, and academic personnel who will look at your video, will assess it against a rubric, which is also provided within the announcement. And then if accepted, it moves from the marketplace over to the government side or a government website, which is viewable by any potential government customer. If it's not accepted, again, that's not a total loss, because you will be getting very detailed feedback telling you why it was not accepted, and gives you the opportunity to remake your video and submit it in a subsequent submission cycle. So you have as many times as you want to get to a good video. Our goal is to make all videos acceptable. Okay, next. Again, I think the value proposition, for submitters is pretty obvious. For those who don't have a big marketing budget to be able to get your ideas, spread across the enterprise of potential government customers. The Tradewind Solutions Marketplace provides you a little help with that, in that we will select those videos, we'll post those videos, and then we will encourage the government, and we have a process in notifying government customers that videos are on the marketplace and encouraging them to go to that marketplace and peruse the marketplace to find things that might fit their either present or future requirements. The government assessors that are providing you with maybe some comments on the operational aspects. So they're looking at it from that perspective. The academic people are looking at it from the value of the technology and the value of that technology. Like I said, and the SMEs are looking at it for validity of what's being presented. As I mentioned in the first slide, the acquisition pathway, how you will be awarded or how you might be awarded, is really wide open. It could be an OTA, so it could be handled through another transaction authority, or it could be a FAR-based contract. So there's no limit to the types of acquisition pathways that are available to both the government customer and to you, for actually acceptance of your video or your technology. All of the terms, the conditions under which you will be providing your technology are all negotiable. So if there's IP issues or IP assertions that you have, those are all taken into consideration and will be worked out between you and the government customer. And the last point I think is important is that when your video and your presentation of your technology is not directed to any specific customer, although it might be if you have a customer that's really looking for your technology. So there is a possibility there that multiple customers may find your video and decide that it meets their requirements. So more than one customer can select your video and take advantage of the marketplace in order to acquire it. Okay, next one. Right now in the announcement, which you'll read when you read the Tradewind Solutions Marketplace, we have identified these 6 technology focus areas. These technology focus areas are really strategic focus areas. So your technology should be able to fit into any one of these. We ask you to identify the one that you're addressing with your technology. If you look at the first 5 and you say, well, it doesn't exactly fit into one of those first 5, we added a 6th, and that is discovering blue sky technology applications. So I would suggest that if your technology doesn't precisely fit in any one of the former 5, that you designate that as a discovering blue sky technology application. One caution here is, and we've had this experience in the last collection, is that a company submitted the same video against 3 different focus areas. I would suggest not doing that. If you're going to submit a video and you don't know what focus area, like I said, select Discover Blue Sky Technology Applications and then submit your video. You can submit multiple videos in any given collection period, but they should be different technologies. So if you have 5 technologies you want to offer to the government, then submit 5 videos. But just ensure that each of those videos kind of stands on their own and explains a specific technology. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, let me just jump in here. That's a really important point. Early on, when we first started the process, the first couple of months, people had a lot of questions about that issue in particular. Hey, we have more than one solution. Should we just roll it all into one video? Please don't do that. I don't think it does. It makes it much more difficult for us, and it also does a disservice to you because number one, you only have 5 minutes, right? Like we're actually really strict at this point in terms of adhering to that 5-minute limit. We're getting a lot of submissions at this point. We have a lot of people submitting every day, every month, and we really are adhering to that 5-minute limit. So if your video happens to come in at 5:02 or 5:03, unfortunately, we're going to have to kick it back and just ask you to revise it so that's right at under that 5-minute limit. But to that point, it's hard, and it's sort of, you have to be succinct even with one solution, much less trying to roll a bunch into there. So if you have multiple solutions, just create a 5-minute video for each, and then we're happy to review all of them.
Yeah, thank you, Fiona.
Moving on. So I put this together, and this is something that is a result of some of the feedback that we were getting. We wanted to make sure people were really clear on a couple of really key points. So the number one thing is that submissions are accepted on a rolling basis. As soon as the first of the month hits, you have that entire month to submit your 5-minute video. So the submission window is the entire month from the first day to the last. That's a submission window. If you happen to miss the window, let's say it's May 31st and you missed the window, oh my God, I missed May. That's okay. The next day, June 1st, a new window opens up. So this is a no stress situation here, right? There's no deadlines necessarily. There's no, oh my God, the window's closed. You have to wait until next year. No. Submit it whenever you have it ready, and we're happy to assess it. The assessment window opens as soon as a month closes. So on June 1st, we start the assessments for all of the videos that came in May. Jean, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, it's usually done within about the first week of the following month. Okay, and that assessment period usually runs about a week. So if you submit in a particular month, as Fiona mentioned, in May, then you should have an answer, whether you're awardable or not awardable, or receive your feedback somewhere around the middle of the next month, which would be June. So, and that happens, each month. So you don't have to wait as typically you do with the government, 2, 3, 4, 5 months before you know where you are. Okay, you'll know the next month. And since we started in November, that has been consistent. We've been able to get that feedback. We've added this notification process so that anytime anything happens to your video page, whether a comment is added that your video was too long, or for some other reason we want to communicate with you, when we add anything to your video page, like a comment, you will be notified to alert you to go look at your video and see what that comment happens to be. You will also get, when your video is submitted, it's marked received. When it goes into assessment, it's marked as under assessment. And then the last change would be whether it's awardable or not awardable. So, there are various notifications and various positions that the video will be put in as it goes through that assessment process.
Yeah, Jean, so to that point, we sort of designed the marketplace to be everything that government acquisition isn't, right? Like government acquisition is complicated and cumbersome and has all these regulations, and you have to sift through, stacks of paper and put together these proposals. No, this process could not be simpler. You put together a 5-minute video, tell us about your solution, adhere to the rubric, get it into an assessment cycle. And if you're deemed awardable, you're in the marketplace. And if you're not deemed awardable, we tell you how to make it better, and you could resubmit. Like the process really cannot be simpler. And to Jean's point, we also built in a lot of communication because we understood that was a real dead spot. That was a black hole from a government acquisition perspective. You know, sometimes you put in these proposals that you put all this time and effort into, and then you never hear anything back. With the marketplace, at every step of the process, you will be getting some type of notification. Hey, here's where you're at. Thanks for submitting. Hey, you've just, you know, been assessed. Hey, here's what we discovered. Hey, can you tweak this? So we work with you through the process and let you know where you're at any given moment. And that the feedback about that specific feature has been very positive, obviously. I think a lot of people have been hungry for that. One other thing, there's no limit on how many videos you can submit. If you submit 3 videos because you have 3 solutions at this moment, but in a month or 2, you come up with another solution, great, go ahead and submit another video. There's no max on that. Jean, we had a question come in that I'll throw your way. How do you handle if the solution can go into different capabilities as is? I think by capabilities, Gregory, I think you mean different focus areas. So Jean, I think you spoke a little bit about that. What if one solution can address a number of different areas?
When a video is submitted, you're asked to provide some information. One of them is obviously the video, which you'll submit to the marketplace. And then there's a short description of that video, which accompanies, it's a written description. It's limited to the amount of characters that you can describe, but there is a little description as to what your video content is. In addition, you're asked for what focus area you're addressing. Now, if you want to, you can include multiple focus areas into that portion of it. And like I said, it makes it simpler if, like you said, if you don't have a specific focus area or it spans a couple of different focus areas, you could always use the blue sky. Okay, and that's kind of all encompassing.
Jean, we had another question come in from Sid Prasanna. She's asking, or he's asking, I'm sorry, I'm not clear. They have a license from a national lab to commercialize a cybersecurity solution. They're asking how they can engage with the Tradewind Solutions Marketplace to commercialize the solution. I'm not entirely sure what they mean by commercialize. I think the marketplace is in some ways a good marketing tool. I think, you know, even if you have a license, or even if you have a contract for that matter, and I think that's another important point, I'm going to digress for a moment. You can get contracts off of the marketplace ad nauseum, right? Like when you submit a traditional proposal, and Jean, please chime in, this is your area, and I want to make sure I'm not misstepping here. But the regular process, the traditional process, you go through an RFP and you go through all those down selects, and then when you're selected, you get that one contract. On the marketplace, you put your solution in there. Government customer A can try to contract with you on Monday, and on Friday you can hear from government customer B who wants a contract with you. There's no problem with that. You can sell your solution multiple times through the marketplace. So that's one thing. The second thing is, in terms of commercializing this particular cyber solution, I think it's just a matter of getting your solution onto the marketplace, and then from there, you know, you're open to an infinite number of government customers who would possibly contract with you from there. Jean, please chime in if I've misspoken.
No, that's fine. If you're talking about commercialization, you know, doing a government contract and then trying to commercialize that, you know, the start would be with the government customer who has acceptance of your technology, and then the process, the actual process or the scope that you would have with that customer could include commercialization, moving it to the commercial side too.
Oh, right. It would be in the contract itself.
Right.
Got you. So hopefully, Sid, that answered your question. Susan is asking, is there a list of companies that are currently included in the marketplace? If you're a company and you're logging into the marketplace, which we'll do momentarily here, and if you're asking whether there's just a clear list of who's in there right now, the portal is not designed that way. Obviously, if a company is selected to be in the marketplace, they'll get a notification about that. I post on social media about that. But there's no actual list if that's what you're asking. Certainly, I don't know that we're opposed to. I think actually a better place for that would probably be on our website. But the website currently is in very state of iteration. We're currently building out our website and refining it. So that's something that we can possibly include there. Okay, I think that answers. Oh no, we've got more. Someone's asking what are blue sky applications. Blue sky applications are basically a catch-all category. So we have, let me just go back. So these are our technology focus areas. If you don't fit into one of the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories, if your solution doesn't neatly fit into one of those categories, you could put in the blue sky technology. Blue sky will also cover, solutions that the government hasn't explicitly stated they need, but that your solution possibly addresses a problem that the government doesn't know it has quite yet, right? It's sort of like that forward leaning.
Yeah, I want to mention one other thing here on the technology focus areas. As the government determines that they have a requirement, so maybe not this month, but next month, the government says, oh, we have a requirement for such something. Okay, we will be including those requirements into this technology focus area. So will we have we've had an example of that a couple of months ago where the government was looking for a specific requirement. They said, we have a requirement for this, okay? And we included that into the marketplace at that point. So that gave you the opportunity to not only address the 6 focus areas that we have here, but the specific focus area that the government has outlined. Usually those focus areas have a little more detail. They're not as strategic, they're more operational. So you'll get the requirements that they're looking to satisfy. So this piece, the technology focus area, is a dynamic area that may change from month to month. Okay, depending on what the government provides to us as requirements that they're looking for.
That's a great point. Okay, so I think we've covered all of this. Okay, so top 5 tips. We want to make sure you're successful. So here are the best ways to ensure your success. The first thing is do your homework, right? It's really, it's not a huge lift to dig into the announcement. And that is really going to be your Bible for this whole process. The announcement really lays out in detail exactly what your role is, what you need to do on your end to submit the best possible submission to the marketplace. It's going to tell you exactly what we're looking for, exactly what the parameters are. So in the announcement, you will find the rubric. The rubric is the Bible of all Bibles. It will tell you exactly what the assessment criteria are. So you can submit a fabulous looking video, but if you're not addressing the specific things in the rubric that the government has said, this is exactly what we want to see in these videos, you're going to be selling yourself short, unfortunately. So just make sure you're adhering to the rubric, that you've read the announcement, that you're clear on everything. We've also put a lot of effort into creating how-to videos. We have a bunch of how-to videos, and the link to them is right there. It's all on our tradewindai.com website. So make sure you watch those. We've got FAQs on there. And I would strongly suggest, if you don't yet, please follow us on LinkedIn. We put out a lot of information on there. It just kind of keeps you in the loop in terms of what's happening with the marketplace. And also, don't just watch the videos. There are a lot of tips in there that you want to make sure you're adhering to. And we also have a support email that we monitor quite regularly throughout the day, really. support@tradewindmarketplace.com. Okay.
Wait a minute, before you go on,
yeah.
let me summarize this as succinctly as I can. There are, if you look at the rubric, as Fiona said, is what the assessors are using in order to score your video. And there are 4 major areas that we're looking for in a video. Okay, number 1 is, what problem are you trying to solve? So you have the ability to define what it is that you're trying to do. What is your, what is the problem statement that you're trying to solve? Secondly is, describe the solution. What is it that you're trying to propose in order to solve the problem that you've established? Okay, the third piece is what's its value to the DoD. Okay, and the last thing is what differentiates you, your company, your solution from all possible other solutions that you may be aware of in that particular technology, area. So it's important that you provide that information. Now, there's also a question. There's also in the rubric there is an area talking about technology readiness levels. Now, we're not saying what technology readiness level you should have. Okay, and the definition of the TR levels is included in Appendix A of the announcement. So if you're at a very low technology area, you're just starting, you're in, applied research or something like that. Here's Fiona showing it now. That's fine, but we provide this. It's a non-scored area, so that the evaluators will not score you. You don't get less points because you're a tech TRL level 2 as opposed to a 9. But we want you to tell us if you're at a 2. The goal is, of course, to get to a 9. Do you have a plan for how you're going to mature this technology? Is that maturation a 3-year maturation plan? Is it a 1-month maturation plan? So that potential government customers can get an idea of what they're buying into. They may love your technology. However, they would like to know just what it's going to take, what their investment's going to be in your technology to move you on. Okay. The other thing is, if you are at a TRL level 9, obviously you have a product. It is highly recommended that you do maybe a short demonstration of what that product is. It adds to the credibility of your video, because not only are you telling the assessors, I have this, but you're showing them what it is that you have. So that, like I said, that adds credibility. If you're doing it already for another government agency or even on the commercial side, okay, so state that, so that the assessors know that this is something that has been accepted, maybe used in a different area, maybe used commercially, but it has some provenance in that it's been used in the past. And if it's been successful, that's even better. You can mention it. So the other thing is that I wanted to mention is the videos are 5 minutes. And if you spend 3 minutes talking about your problem, you're not going to have enough time in the 5 minutes to explain the other areas. So you'll have to, meter your time, try to come up with a very succinct definition of your problem. Spend the time in explaining the basis for your technology, and what scientific basis supports that. And then, of course, the DoD and the demonstration, whatever you want to do in the last couple of areas. Those 4 areas are extremely important. I would suggest to you that before you start your video, that you go to the rubric, which Fiona is showing here, and understand how that it's being assessed, and build your video accordingly so that you're addressing those areas, because the assessors are looking at those areas. I would then, after your video is completed, I would do a compliance check. I would go back, look at your video, have the rubric next to it and say, okay, if I were an evaluator, am I hitting all the points that the assessors are going to be looking at? So doing both of those kind of increases the probability that you're going to be assessed very high. So
yeah, these are basically
that's just some suggestions.
Yeah, we kind of like to look at these as, the answers to the test. This is kind of the cheat sheet, right? Like, we're telling you what you're being graded on. So, and hopefully you've all seen this announcement. If not, we'll get onto the website and I'll navigate to where you could find it. And Jean, can you just speak a little bit about the updated announcement that's going to be coming out?
Yeah, there will be a new announcement that's coming out in June, and it's going to contain all of the lessons learned that we have had since November. As Fiona mentioned, we started this the 1st of November, so our first collection was in November of 22. Since that time to actually this past month of April, we've probably collected and evaluated over 200 videos that have come through. The success rate on those going to the government side, assessed as awardable, has been 50% or greater. Okay, so many have made it through, the first time through. Others have been, especially early in the program, not having a feel for what it is the assessors were doing, were considered not awardable, but they resubmitted the following month. Many submitted the same month. So like if you submit early in a month and you got a comment, something was not right with the video or didn't address some of the points. Okay, some of the submitters actually redid their video and submitted them before the end of that month, so you don't lose, a month in the submission cycle. So, like I said, you have maximum flexibility to do whatever you want, with your schedule, your timing, and so forth, putting it together. But like I said, Fiona's scrolling through the announcement. The new announcement will add some of the lessons learned. She mentioned the 5 minutes. We were, in order to promote the marketplace, we were a little, let me say, lenient. We said a 5-minute video. If the video was slightly longer by a few seconds, we said, fine, no problem.
But that was initially.
Initially, yeah. But now, this past month, we received 70 submissions. So we just can't handle, those that go beyond the 5 minutes. So you'll see in the June announcement that we will strictly adhere to the 5-minute line. And I would say 95% of the submissions are, 5 minutes or less. I would also recommend something not to do. Don't go on your shelf and pull out an old marketing video that you might have and submit it. The chances of it being successfully assessed is probably slim. Okay, if it doesn't meet the rubric criteria and the 4 areas in the rubric criteria that are really important, it's not going to do well in assessment. So I would take the time and thoughtfully think through what it is you want to tell the government. Consider it, it's interesting. I'm kind of a fan of the Shark Tank thing that is on TV. Think about, you now have the opportunity to stand up, albeit through a video, in front of a group of very, very capable assessors. And you want to tell them how valuable your technology is to a potential government use. So, be convincing in what you're telling them, okay? Because they're going to look at that. And that, you can look at that at the end of your video after you make your video and say, geez, is that a story that somebody would believe? It's that self-assessment before you hit the submit button.
Yeah, Jean, you said a couple of things I want to touch on. Primarily, yes, if you pull out an old marketing video about your company and submit it, it's, I think some companies have done that. We've seen that, and that's sort of like the easy way out, but it's not going to lend itself to success. It's not going to answer the questions that we're looking to have answered. The other part here is that the video solution is the submission is about your solution, much more so than about your company. Sure, you could take a couple sentences to tell us about your company, but the video is not about your company. It's about the solution, right? I mean, we've had people be successful and be deemed awardable on the marketplace. We had a guy who didn't even have an LLC. He was like just this one-man shop who had this idea and was working on something, and he found out about the marketplace and he submitted, and we worked with him. That's a great success story because he didn't have a formal company. He wasn't established. He just had a great solution that he was working on. So,
and by the way, he was awarded.
And he was awarded,
yeah.
Right? which we love to see. So think of it much more in terms of the actual solution. And your company is almost secondary. Yes, we want to hear a little bit about the company just for context, but that's not really what the video is about. So I want to make that clear. Second thing, Jean mentioned doing a compliance check. I just want to make sure we're clear on what that means. Compliance check means, okay, are we under 5 minutes? Yes, we're under 5 minutes. Let's replay the video and make sure that everything is audible, right? Like you may think that you recorded everything great, but unless you replay it, you won't see whatever technical problems might come up. So like Jean said earlier, we're not looking for a Hollywood quality movie. It doesn't have to be that. You can literally do it on your cell phone, but it's really important that you play it back and make sure that the visuals are clear. If you have slides or if it's just, someone talking, we want to make sure that we can see it. And almost just as important is to make sure we can hear it. So just, you want to do that sort of compliance before you hit that submit button. Make sure you review everything, check all your boxes. Yes, everything looks good. And then go ahead and submit. Jean, we had a question come in, and this is actually a really important question. Do you have any success percentage on the conversion between approved videos and contracts awarded? We don't really call them approved videos. We use the terminology awardable.
Yeah,
awardable. So do you have a conversion rate between awardable videos and awards? I'm just going to say one thing and then I'll turn it over to Jean. The entire purpose of the marketplace is to create a platform where awardable solutions can be marketed to the government. So our part was to sort of create that platform, and your part is to submit the videos to populate that platform with your great solutions that we assess as awardable. And then the government goes in and can find you and, possibly get you a contract from there. I want to be careful about how I say this, but I want to be clear at the same time. Our entire mission is to create that platform for you and for the government. It's a two-sided relationship. We're sort of like a matchmaker. If let's say we're eHarmony, right? Like we can create that platform. We can't guarantee that you're going to get married, right? So that's sort of the best analogy that I can come up with. Jean, I don't know if you want to add to anything.
No, I just want to say that our challenge, I think we've been progressing each month. So the videos are getting better. The number of videos coming in are more. There's more and more videos coming in each month. The technologies are, in many cases, fantastic and done well and explained well. Our challenge has been now to get the government interest. Fiona's been spending a lot of time. Webinars like this are being given to the government so the government understands what's on the marketplace. The CDAO has taken a separate approach to this, and they have been making contact with all of potential government customers and have been promoting the marketplace and where to go to find these videos. We at ARI have been doing likewise. So there's an ecosystem that's out there. We've been notifying those government customers as to the availability of these videos to do it. Now, as far as success is concerned, we have I think in the second month, the video that Fiona was talking about was chosen and selected for award, and in fact was awarded. We have about 3 to 4 more that are in the queue right now, going through the acquisition process for award. So the numbers are still not where we want them to be, but we have about let's say potential 5 that have come out of this as a direct result of participation in the marketplace. Now, as more government customers get involved, of course, that number is going to go up. The other piece is that you kind of take on a bit of a responsibility here too, because most of you probably have websites. So when you become awardable, Fiona came up with a little gimmick where she gives you a badge, that says that you're awardable. I would post that video on your website. Make sure that all of your potential customers know that you have an awardable video and how to get there. All government customer has to do is register on tradewindai.com, and they have full access to all of those videos. The other thing is, in your normal business practice, your customer base, and you might want to go to that customer that had some interest in your company and in your technology and say, oh, by the way, I've just made your job a lot easier because I already have an awardable video. So you don't have to go through a competition process. If you want this technology, all you have to do is go into the Solutions Marketplace, select that video, and begin the process of acquisition. So, like I said, there's multiple ways, and as we proceed with the marketplace, we will be hopefully refining that, to get the government interest up. And we've seen a lot more. In fact, we've seen the Solutions Marketplace was originally intended as a DoD activity, meaning the customers were all going to be from the DoD. It just so happened that a couple of months ago, Department of the Treasury, Veterans Administration, all came in. OPM has come in and said, geez, can we use the marketplace also? We'd like to take advantage of the technologies that you have resident in the marketplace. So we're beginning to see a rapid, I don't know if you call it, transition from solely DoD to other government agencies. There's no reason why that can't happen. So we're working with them.
Absolutely. Gene, we have just about 12 minutes left, and we're getting flooded with questions, which is great. So number one, I want to make sure we answer all the questions, but I just want to finish this off. So as we discussed ad nauseum, the number one reason videos don't get accepted into the marketplace is because in some way the video did not adhere to the announcement. So at this point, what do? You go on to tradewindai.com, which we'll do now. You sign up or sign in to the Tradewind Exchange. And from there, you get into the marketplace, you submit your video, and then you stand by for feedback. And again, this is our support email address if you need it. Let me stop sharing and I'll get over to the website. In the meantime, Gene, someone was asking, will we see examples of videos that were awarded? And is there an archive of these we can access?
The answer is no. One of the provisions, and this really was from the start, many of the companies, although we asked for non-proprietary data, non-proprietary information in the videos, many of the companies were very concerned about having their technologies available to possible competitors. So we made a decision at that point that the content of the videos submitted would not be shared among companies. Okay, so although the government can see all, the companies can only see their video or videos, depending on how many they submit. So if you're looking for examples of videos, I think the help page will assist you in knowing what a good video is and not. We are working with a couple of the companies to see if they would permit us to publish their video on the marketplace, just as examples of what was a good video. That hasn't been resolved at this point yet.
Okay, and someone was asking, is there a fee to submit a video and be on the marketplace? The answer is no.
Sure.
There's no fee. Is there a way to show that what the government view of the marketplace is when they search for awardable videos. I'm not quite sure what that means.
Yes, I think if what we encourage the government, if a government customer, potential government customer, looks at a video on the marketplace and has some comment, like, please contact me. You know, I'm Colonel so-and-so, and this is my phone number. You know, that's great. You know, we encourage the other way. We encourage them to get in touch with you directly, but they may leave a comment on your video page. So by viewing your video page periodically, you can see, you know, if there's anybody looking and commenting on what you presented. So that video page really is a communications link between you and potential customers, and, you know, be able to, almost like a chat box, if you think about it. You'll be able to chat on that video page.
Someone earlier asked, how can we get in touch with customers after a video is selected? Again, you know, you'll have that link, and you're free to, you know, market that within your own company channels as much as you want. You can contact customers directly, or contracting activities, and say, hey, I have this thing, it's awardable. Or, you know, what Jean said earlier, if you have a customer that you know wants your solution, but is just looking for a more streamlined way of procuring it, point them to the marketplace and your solution there.
Yeah, Fiona, I just wanted to mention, I would encourage any interested customer, government customer, to immediately go to tradewindai.com and register as a government customer, which they can do. And you'll see that here.
Yeah, certainly if you're talking to customers, you want to let them know that, hey, we're on here. And by the way, you should have an account. You should be on there too.
Right. If they're on the account, they can see all of the videos.
Yeah.
And they could select from that group of videos just by virtue of the fact that they're a government customer.
Yeah, to Jean's point earlier, you know, I've been pounding the pavement, and our entire team has as well, quite frankly. What we do on the industry side to get the word out to you, we're also doing on the government side. But the government is such a behemoth, you know, it's quite a process. It's a lot of steadiness and consistency, and slowly but surely, you know, government agencies are finding out about us. To Jean's point, you know, we really started as just DoD. Now we have non-DoD agencies reaching out and saying, hey, I want to use this thing. So the word is starting to get out. It's just, you know, obviously it's, you know, if the entire government, you know, hung out at one particular place, I would just go there with, you know, a bullhorn and, you know, tell them about the marketplace, but it's just not that simple. So it's really kind of it's a steady slog through, you know, all those agencies getting all the messages out about the marketplace. Someone was asking, do you do outreach to various government entities who you believe may be interested in a specific vendor technology video?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
If we see something and we know the connection between, or we know a requirement or potential requirement by a government customer, we'll direct that government customer to do just as I mentioned. You know, log into the market, into the tradewindai.com, go to the marketplace, and then view that video. So yeah, we'll give them that direction to go there.
Somebody was asking about other parts of Tradewind. So Tradewind Tradewind itself, right? Is a suite of tools and services designed to accelerate the procurement and adoption of AI, ML, digital, and data analytics technologies across the DoD. That is the Tradewind umbrella. Under the Tradewind umbrella, one of the tools under the Tradewind umbrella is the Tradewind Solutions Marketplace. I think people sometimes use the terms interchangeably, Tradewind and Tradewind Solutions Marketplace. Tradewind is actually a formal program with a lot of different tentacles, one of which is the Solutions Marketplace. The other pieces under the Tradewind umbrella are, you know, certain blanket purchase agreements known as DRADE and T&E, which are under the Tradewind umbrella. And somebody was asking about that process. That's a little bit outside the scope of this particular webinar. It's outside the scope of the Solutions Marketplace proper. So those types of questions should be directed to CDAO directly. Someone was asking about what are the prerequisites and fees for products versus services if they're different. There are no fees on the vendor side. So I think that's the answer. Unless you have more to add there, Jean. We're running a little bit low on time. I want to make sure we're getting all the questions. Someone was asking if we believe Tradewind Solutions Marketplace is better than Vulcan. If so, how is it better?
Yeah, Vulcan usually announces things that that a particular Vulcan user, call that the customer, wants to get advertised. It's different in many ways from the marketplace. Vulcan usually handles a solicitation. So you get a solicitation, it's posted on Vulcan, you can bid on that, you will be assessed using the Vulcan platform. Okay, and then there's a winner, maybe multiple winners and losers. And then that ends the Vulcan experience when it comes to that. You can obviously you can put a scout card on, which could stay on Vulcan as long as you want it to stay on Vulcan. But it's not the same as the marketplace where your actual technology is there. You know, usually a scout card doesn't contain the same kind of information as we have on the videos. So Vulcan is distinctly different, and it's only evaluated or assessed, when there's a requirement. We're doing constant assessments, the monthly assessments. So we will have a pool, always have a pool of videos that have been awardable that do not require additional competition. So I hesitate by saying the word sole source, but potentially a government customer can look at your video and say, I could buy that without having to go through all the competition that a government contract usually requires, because it's already been done and it's already certified as part of the FAR, the DFAR, and the OTA regulations. So, it gives you a head start in doing it. The only thing that has to be worked out is the details of whatever kind of a contract or an agreement that you would have with that particular customer.
I know we have only a couple of minutes left. I think at this point, I'll just jump right into the marketplace just so you guys can get your eyes on it if you haven't been there yet. You go to tradewindai.com, you navigate to Solutions Marketplace. This is where you get all your information. But from anywhere on tradewindai.com, you just have to go into join us if you haven't joined the Tradewind Exchange yet, or you go into log in, and I'll log in quickly here with my login just so you can see the interface if you haven't been in there yet. Oh, that didn't work. It worked when I tried earlier. Let's see what happens. Okay, so so this is the actual Tradewind Exchange where you'll have access to a lot of different parts of Tradewind, all the announcements, a lot of different capabilities that we have. The Solutions Marketplace is right up here on the right-hand side. You go to Access Now, and this takes you into the marketplace, and literally you upload your video. It's really just a couple of clicks. So that is the marketplace. I know we're pretty much out of time. If you have any other questions, or if there's anything that we haven't answered for you, please feel free to email us at support@tradewindmarketplace.com, and we'll make sure we get you some answers. So thank you all so much for joining us. Jean, any closing thoughts?
No, just like I said, the important piece is read the announcement, follow the rubric, and I could almost guarantee, with a good technology, that it's going to be successful going through the marketplace. And if not, like I said, you have the opportunity as many times as you want to resubmit based on the feedback that you're getting from the assessors. The assessors have been very, very valuable throughout this process. The feedback you will get will not be negative feedback. It will be constructive feedback that says, you were soft in this area. You should put a little bit more emphasis in this area. And when those instructions are followed, usually results in an awardable video.
Final plug for our LinkedIn. If you're not connected with us on LinkedIn, please be friends with us on LinkedIn. We want to be friends with you. We're always putting good stuff out there, and we'll be doing these events consistently. So if there's anything you feel like you missed, or you want to join us again, we're happy to see you again. And on that note, I wish you all a great day. Thank you all for joining us again. Take care now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.